You can tell when someone's new to riding. It's not the size of their bike or how slow they go, it's the small details that give it away. The nervous stops, the stiff posture, the constant staring at the ground. We've all been there. Every rider starts out making the same mistakes. The key is knowing what they are so you can move past them fast. So let's get into it. Here are 10 signs you're still a beginner rider and how to ride with confidence. Number 1. Both feet down at every stop. If you pull up to a red light and instantly throw both feet to the ground, that's one of the easiest ways to tell you're still a beginner. It's not because you look nervous, it's because you don't fully trust your balance or clutch control yet. Most new riders are afraid of tipping over, so they try to plant as much as they can on the pavement. It feels safer, but what it really shows is that the bike is controlling you, not the other way around. Here's the thing, when you watch an experienced rider stop, it looks effortless. One foot stays down, the other covers the rear brake, and the bike just sits there steady and balanced. They're not wobbling or shuffling around trying to find center. That 1 foot stance isn't just for show, it's a sign of total control. It means they know exactly how the clutch, throttle, and balance work together in those last few feet before stopping. When both feet hit the ground, it usually means your timing's off. You're either pulling the clutch too early, braking too late, or not using your body to stabilize the bike. The fix is simple but takes practice. Find an open parking lot and practice rolling to a smooth stop using just your left foot while keeping your right foot ready on the rear brake. Feel how your bike balances as you ease to a halt. Once you get comfortable, you'll notice something change. Your stops start feeling calm, controlled, and professional. That 2 foot shuffle disappears and you'll pull up to lights like you've been riding for years. So if both feet still hit the ground every time, don't stress. It just means you've got one more skill to polish before you truly ride with confidence. Number 2, staring at the ground instead of looking ahead. If your eyes are locked on the pavement right in front of your wheel, that's a dead giveaway. You're still a beginner. It's one of the most common habits new riders fall into, and honestly, it's totally understandable. You're trying to stay safe, trying to watch what's directly under you. But here's the problem. Your bike goes where your eyes go. If you're looking 2 feet ahead, that's exactly where you'll end up. You'll wobble, drift off your line, and react too late to what's coming. Experienced riders do the opposite. Their eyes are always up, scanning far ahead. They're reading traffic, watching the road surface, and already looking through the corner before they even start turning. When you look ahead, your whole body naturally follows, your head, your shoulders, your arms, and the bike itself. That's why their lines look smooth and effortless. It's not magic, it's vision. When you stare down, your brain focuses on what's right in front of you. You start to overcorrect and make tiny steering inputs because every crack or bump feels like a threat. The ride becomes jerky and unpredictable, but when you lift your gaze, everything calms down. You see the road sooner, your movements smooth out, and the bike starts to feel stable beneath you. If you want to fix it, try this. Next time you're riding in a parking lot, pick a distant point, maybe a cone, a sign, or even a spot on the horizon, and focus on it. Ride toward it without looking down. You'll be amazed how much straighter and smoother your bike feels. So if you're still staring at the ground, it's not that you can't ride, it's that you haven't learned to trust the bike yet. The moment you lift your eyes and look where you want to go, everything changes. That's when you stop surviving the ride and start flowing with it. Number 3, gripping the handlebars too tight. If your hands are clamped on the grips like you're hanging off a cliff, that's a classic sign you're still a beginner. It's what riders call the death grip. Every new rider does it at first. It's your body's way of saying, don't let go. You're tense, alert, and maybe a little scared the bike might do something unpredictable. But the tighter you hold on, the less control you actually have. Motorcycles are designed to move underneath you. The suspension, the frame, even the handlebars, all of it works best when you let the bike breathe. When you squeeze the bars like a vice, every little bump transfers straight into your arms and shoulders. You start fighting the bike instead of flowing with it. That tension makes the ride jerky, your steering twitchy, and your whole body stiff. You end up exhausted after even a short ride. Watch an experienced rider sometime. Their upper body looks almost loose even when they're carving corners at high speed. Their elbows are bent, wrists relaxed, shoulders soft. They're guiding the bike, not forcing it. That's what control really looks like. Calm, confident, and smooth. Here's an easy test. While cruising, try wiggling your fingers without losing control. If you can't, you're gripping too tight. Relax your hands, drop your shoulders, and bend your elbows. Let the handlebars float in your palms instead of being crushed by them. The bike will instantly feel lighter and more stable. When you finally loosen up, something amazing happens. The ride becomes effortless. You start feeling every movement of the bike as feedback instead of chaos. It stops being a battle and starts feeling like a dance. So if your forearms burn after every ride or your hands go numb, that's your sign you're still riding tense. Let go a little, trust the bike, and you'll find real control and relaxation. Number 4, relying too much on the rear brake. If you find yourself dragging that rear brake everywhere, at stoplights, in slow corners, or going downhill, you're showing one of the most common beginner habits out there. It feels safe, right? The rear brake is smooth, predictable, and doesn't make the front of the bike dive. But here's the problem. It gives you a false sense of control. When you depend on the rear brake alone, you're missing out on most of your stopping power. About 70% of your braking force comes from the front. Ignoring it means your stops are longer, sloppier, and less controlled when it really counts. Experienced riders know how to blend both brakes together. The front does the heavy lifting, while the rear keeps the bike balanced and steady. It's not about picking one over the other, it's about finding that perfect mix. Smooth, even braking gives you total control, especially in emergencies. When you grab too much rear brake, you risk locking it up and sliding, especially on loose or wet pavement. When you use only the front, you might feel a bit of dive, but the bike stays stable and stops faster if you squeeze gradually. The best way to fix it is through practice. Find an empty parking lot, ride up to 20 or 30 miles per hour, and practice stopping with different brake pressures. Feel how the front end dips slightly as it grips, and notice how the rear stabilizes the bike. That balance point is what you're aiming for. Firm but smooth, controlled but powerful. Once you master it, your braking becomes second nature. You'll stop shorter, ride smoother, and feel far more confident in traffic. So if you're still tapping that rear pedal like a safety blanket, it's time to level up. Trust your front brake, blend them both, and you'll go from cautious beginner to smooth, confident rider in no time. Number 5, taking corners too wide. If you find yourself drifting to the outside of every turn, that's a clear sign you're still a beginner. It's one of the most common and dangerous habits new riders have. You enter a corner, realize it's tighter than you thought, and suddenly you're headed toward the center line, or worse, the oncoming lane. Your heart jumps, your arms stiffen, and your brain screams, "Don't lean." That hesitation right there is the root of the problem. Taking corners too wide usually means you're not looking where you want to go. Most beginners stare at the ground or the guardrail because they're focused on what they're afraid of hitting. But your bike follows your eyes, always. If you're looking at the edge of the road, that's exactly where you'll end up. The secret is to look through the corner, not at it. Turn your head, point your eyes toward the exit, and let the bike follow your gaze. Another reason new riders go wide is fear of leaning. It feels unnatural at first, like the bike's going to slide out. But the truth is, leaning is control. That's how motorcycles turn. You counter steer gently, hold steady throttle, and let the bike carve its line. When you resist the lean, you actually make the bike stand up mid-turn, which pushes you wide. The best way to fix it is to practice looking and trusting the lean in a safe space, like a big empty lot or a quiet road. Do slow figure eights, focus on turning your head early, and keep your throttle smooth. Over time, your body learns to trust the bike. When you finally get it right, corners stop being scary. They start flowing, smooth, controlled, and confident. So if you're still running wide, it's not about bad luck. It's about bad vision and hesitation. Look where you want to go. Trust the lean, and your corners will tighten up like magic. Number 6, riding in the wrong gear. If your bike sounds like it's either screaming for mercy or chugging along like it's out of breath, that's a sure sign you're still a beginner. Shifting isn't just about changing speed, it's about keeping the engine in its happy zone, where power, smoothness, and control all come together. When you ride in the wrong gear, everything feels off. Your throttle feels jumpy, your acceleration lags, and your ride gets rough. Most new riders either rev too high, thinking more noise means more power, or they stay in too high a gear, afraid of shifting too often. Both are bad habits. Over-revving wears out your engine and makes the bike twitchy. Lugging it, riding too slow in a high gear, makes the engine struggle, vibrate, and lose response. You're basically forcing the motor to do more work than it should. Experienced riders don't rely on the gear indicator. They ride by feel and sound. The engine tells you everything you need to know. A smooth, steady hum means it's happy. A growl or a whine means it's not. The goal is to find that sweet spot where the bike feels alive but not strained. If you want to improve, try riding familiar roads and focus on the rhythm between throttle, clutch, and speed. Pay attention to how the bike responds when you shift earlier or later. Over time, your instincts take over. You won't even think about gears anymore. So if you're still guessing when to shift or relying on the dashboard to tell you what to do, you're not there yet. Mastering your gears isn't about numbers. It's about connection. When you can feel the perfect shift without looking down, that's when you stop being a beginner and start truly riding. Number 7, avoiding U-turns and tight turns. If you avoid U-turns like they're traps waiting to tip you over, that's a clear sign you're still a beginner. Slow speed control exposes every weakness in your riding: your balance, throttle feel, clutch control, and confidence. At higher speeds, the bike balances itself, but at walking pace, it's all on you. That's why U-turns feel intimidating. The moment you slow down, the bike suddenly feels heavy and unstable. The truth is, the riders who look smooth and confident didn't skip this part. They mastered it in empty parking lots. The trick is all about coordination: light throttle, clutch in the friction zone, and a touch of rear brake to steady the bike. Most new riders skip the practice because it feels awkward, but that's where real control is built. When you stop fearing tight turns and start practicing them, everything about your riding improves. The bike feels lighter, your confidence grows, and those slow, stressful moments turn into smooth, easy moves. So if you're still dodging U-turns, you're not just avoiding a maneuver, you're avoiding progress. Number 8, tensing up when the bike wobbles. If your first reaction to a little wobble is to freeze up and tighten every muscle, that's a sure sign you're still a beginner. It's natural, your brain thinks tension equals control, but on a motorcycle, it's the opposite. When you stiffen up, you stop the bike from doing what it's designed to do: correct itself. Motorcycles are built to stay upright. The geometry, the wheels, the suspension, they all work together to stabilize the bike as long as you let them. The moment you lock your arms and shoulders, you interfere with that process. Every bump, gust of wind, or uneven patch of road becomes harder to handle because you're fighting the bike instead of working with it. Experienced riders stay loose. Their arms are relaxed, their grip is light, and their body moves with the motorcycle. Next time you feel a wobble, resist the urge to tense up. Keep your eyes ahead, ease your grip, and let the bike settle itself. You'll feel it stabilize naturally. Staying relaxed isn't just about comfort, it's about control. If you can trust the bike to do its job, you'll ride smoother, safer, and with a lot more confidence. Number 9, struggling with slow speed parking lot control. If you tense up the moment you have to ride slowly through a parking lot, make a U-turn, or weave between spaces, that's a big sign you're still a beginner. Parking lot speeds reveal everything about your riding: balance, clutch control, throttle feel, and confidence. You can fake it on the highway where the bike balances itself, but at walking pace, there's nowhere to hide. That's why so many riders panic in tight spaces. The bike feels heavy, unstable, and unpredictable, and you end up duck walking it instead of riding it. Here's the truth: every skilled rider you see gliding through tight spots didn't get there by luck. They earned it through slow speed practice. The trick is understanding how to control the bike's balance using the clutch, throttle, and rear brake together. It's called the friction zone, and it's your best friend at low speeds. A little throttle, a slipping clutch, and light pressure on the rear brake keep the bike stable and upright. It might feel awkward at first, but once you get the rhythm, the bike suddenly feels half its weight. Practicing slow speed control isn't glamorous, it's not about speed or power, but it's one of the most valuable skills you can have. Find an open parking lot and practice figure eights, tight U-turns, and slow rolls. The more you do it, the calmer and smoother you'll feel in real situations, like pulling into traffic, turning around on a narrow road, or parking on a hill. If you still struggle in parking lots, that's okay. It just means you're still building your foundation. Mastering slow speed control is what turns a nervous rider into a confident one, because once you can handle your bike at a crawl, everything else on the road feels easy. Number 10, looking nervous or unsure instead of confident. If you look tense at every stoplight, second guess every move, or hesitate before taking off, it's a clear sign you're still a beginner. Confidence on a motorcycle isn't about ego, it's about control. When you're nervous, your body language gives it away. Shoulders tight, eyes darting around, clutch hand twitchy. That hesitation affects how the bike responds. A motorcycle mirrors your energy. If you're tense and unsure, the ride feels the same. Experienced riders move with calm, deliberate motions. Their head stays up, their posture is relaxed, and every movement looks smooth because they trust the bike and their own skills. That kind of confidence only comes with practice. The more time you spend riding, the more natural it feels, and that nervous edge fades away. So if you still feel awkward or shaky, that's fine. It just means you're still learning. But remember, confidence doesn't come from looking cool. It comes from being in control. Keep practicing, keep riding, and soon you won't have to act confident. You'll just be it. Every rider starts out as a beginner. It's part of the journey. What matters is that you keep learning, keep practicing, and keep pushing to get smoother and more confident every ride. If this helped you, then hit that like button, subscribe for more motorcycle tips, and share this with a new rider who needs it. Ride safe, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.